Alright, so the report going around right now is that the Cleveland Cavaliers could be interested in potentially trading for Royce O'Neale. Another report even saying that trade discussions for Royce O'Neale have also already started, with it currently being confirmed that the Cavaliers and Nets will likely reapproach the Royce O'Neale trade talks this summer, according to Evan DeMarrell. Royce O'Neale was close to becoming a Cavalier back in February before the deadline as well. O'Neale would provide the 3-and-D wing that the Cavs have needed for years. And I think genuinely this is a really good idea, especially if you're the Cavaliers, because I think at the trade deadline why they didn't actually pull this move was just based off the fact that they initially thought that the Nets would probably be asking for a first round pick, or the Nets were asking for a first round pick, right? I think the Nets genuinely were, and right now with how it sits on their Brooklyn Nets situation, I think a couple of the asking prices for players like Royce O'Neale have probably gone down. At least that's what I genuinely believe. I think that if the Cavaliers were to go over to the Nets and, offer them a player like Cedi Osman and 2 second-round picks, that's probably getting you Royce O'Neale. Again, Royce O'Neale doesn't really have a lot of value to this Nets team anymore. He's a lot older, on an expiring type of deal. Again, if you bring in like a player like Cedi Osman for the Nets, probably won't make that much of a difference, but I do actually think Osman might suit better what the Nets need. The Nets have a lot of those role player type of guys, and I think it'd be awesome if they just got a nice somewhat of a shot creator that can go from the 2 to the 3, which I think is what Cedi Osman can do. I feel like his shot creation for a minute has kind of gone underrated right now. Again, he didn't do a whole lot on the Cavaliers last season in terms of shot creation. I think that's why the stigma of that is kind of on him. But again, he's been known to be a pretty decent 3-point shooter throughout his career as well. I just wonder if the Cavaliers are thinking, yeah, it's time for Osman and us to mutually agree that it's better if he spends his career elsewhere and do something like that. Again, if you're the Nets, you also get a couple second-round picks and an expiring contract back. So realistically, your team isn't changing a whole lot. I'm still not sure what their direction is going to be, whether they're going to push for the playoffs next season or will they regress. Again, there's reports that a player like Cam Johnson could actually be joining the Detroit Pistons in free agency, and a couple players like Seth Curry will also be leaving. So there's no doubt they're definitely going to get probably a lot worse with those type of players most likely going. But again, it's going to be interesting how they do, of course, see the outlook of the team. They could lose Cam Johnson, lose Seth Curry, lose all those good players, and somehow get better. The realistic thing is, if a player like Ben Simmons goes from averaging his 6.6 rebounds, 5 assists or whatever on terrible efficiency and bad defense, to being what he used to be, where he used to be like a 14, 9-9 elite defender kind of guy, well then your team automatically changes by having one of the worst players in the NBA to him changing into one of the best defenders and an all-star. Realistic thing is, there's still players on the Nets who could light it up and completely change their the trajectory of how their career is going, and Ben Simmons is 100% one of them. But again, you don't really need a dude like Royce O'Neale anymore, especially if they think they're going to get a lot worse or whatever it's going to be. A guy like Royce O'Neale would definitely help the Cavaliers, and I think he would be ultimately a perfect player to probably bring in if you're the Cavs. You desperately need that 3-and-D kind of wing off the bench or forward off the bench who won't necessarily need the ball in his hands a lot to succeed. I think that's the thing with Cedi Osman. He needed the ball in his hands a bit more on the Cavaliers, and he just couldn't get that, unfortunately for him. On the Nets, though, he might very well get that. But on the Cavaliers, if you're thinking, yeah, Royce O'Neale would be a good option, I also think that. I think they might need another shot creator off that bench. They did just get Emoni Bates, but who knows how good he'll be in his first season. I think, again, getting some 3-and-D type dudes who can space the floor out would be a really awesome guy. And who knows, Royce O'Neale could literally start a lot of games. Like, he could be a full-time starter on that team if they don't want to rock with Okoro, So Could be a really interesting thing. He's also really close with Donovan Mitchell and Ricky Rubio, I believe. He definitely played with both of them before, and seems like they're somewhat getting that old Utah team back. Hey, if Rudy Gobert wants to come play for the G League team, why not come and get him in? But of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you guys think the Cavaliers should go for a dude like Royce O'Neal, or do you guys think they shouldn't? Of course, I'd very much like to know. Don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel, my IRL/vlogging channel, and my podcast. Links for them will be in the description down below. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.